With this event. So, you guys can sit. I have a few notes. A few quick notes. So, I've known Christine for a while, and when Christine first started telling me about Tim, I noticed the level of communication that they both had. And as she kept telling me over the weeks and over the months, she'd tell me a story, this story about Tim, this about Tim, and I'm thinking, I'm saying, you know, he's the one. And at first she's just like, well, I don't know. I'm like, Christine, I'm telling you, he's the one. And what tipped it off is their communication. The way they talk to each other, it was very deep. Their communication was magical. They had a way of working things out between themselves. If you look at the word magic, we can trace that back to the Sumerian word imga, which means profound or deep. And that's what these two have, a profound, deep connection. So there was an event when I went hang gliding, I took them with me. And as I took them with me, I walked back to the car. I was getting my hang glider thing out of my car. And it was on a mountaintop, and I walked back, and as I walked back, it was like I walked into a dome of this energy. You couldn't see it, but you could feel it. And it was coming from these two. They were sitting on the mountain. And I've been at this mountaintop for years. I've never felt that kind of energy there. And so what it reminded me of, it reminded me of what the Indians say when two people are together and they're really vibing well. It says they make good medicine together. The medicine that benefits the whole tribe. And these two make good medicine together. So, I want to speak a bit about purpose of relationship. So, lots of times in our world we use relationship as a way to kind of distract us from a higher spiritual purpose, to distract us from going back to the God source or back to love, to the Spirit, whatever your word you prefer. But Christine and Tim are using a relationship for what it's really meant for. So we're all meant to go back to the love source, to realize we are that. But nobody wants to go back alone. So we all have to go back together. So when you get a relationship like this, it's kind of like a dress rehearsal for when we all mold back with the ultimate love called God's Spirit. So this is their dress rehearsal, and I am so happy to say, I told you so! And I wish you guys a lifelong blessings and beyond. Okay, and Jeremiah?
So I got a reading here. Christine sent me. That really reflects upon her and Tim and their commitment to each other today. It's called Sooner or Later. It's by an anonymous writer. Sooner or later, we begin to understand that love is more than verses on Valentine's and romance in the movies. We begin to know that love is here and now, real and true. The most important thing in our lives. For love is the creator of our favorite memories and the foundation of our fondest dreams. Love is a promise that is always kept, a fortune that can never be spent, a seed that can flourish in even the most unlikely of places. And this radiance that never fades, this mysterious and magical joy, is the greatest treasure of all, one known only by those who love.
Hello, my name is Bonnie Cram. Christine and Tim have asked me to officiate on the legal part of the ceremony, and I am very, very honored to be here. I love you dearly, Christine, and I love you too, Tim. I never met you before today. So if you cry, I'm going to cry. So. This is a piece by Robert Fulghum, and it's called Union. You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes. Indeed, you have been making commitments in an informal way. All of those conversations that were held in a car or over a meal or during long walks, all those conversations that began with when we're married and continued with I will, and you will, and we will. All those late night talks that included someday and somehow and maybe, and all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real purpose of a wedding, process of a wedding. The symbolic vows that you are about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know all those things that we promised and hoped and dreamed. Well, I meant it. All. Every word. Look at one another and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to one another. Acquaintance, friend, companion, lover, dancing partner, even teacher. For you have learned much from one another these past few years. Shortly, you shall say a few words that will take you across a threshold of life, and things between you will never quite be the same. For after today, you shall say to the world, this is my husband, this is my wife. So I invite Christine and Tim to recite their vows. Christine?
You can stay there.
I, Tim cheated. I wrote them down because I thought I wouldn't remember. So when we first met, I was intrigued by Tim. Really smart, really funny, very deep, deeper than most people you'll ever encounter in your life. And in one encounter, we decided to go grab coffee. 6 hours later, we closed a coffee shop. That was one of our first conversations, you know, in terms of communication. We always have great communications, and I appreciate all of it. From there, obviously, our romance blossomed, and more than anything, what I find about you is remarkable. I think that was the word. I was trying to think of a word to describe you. And a good friend of mine has this little saying in her car, it says, "Be true." And the truth about Tim is he's remarkable. And I thought of that. He's loving, he's smart, he's kind, he's confident, he is inquisitive, he is relentless and diligent. He's all these things that we try to be on any given day, and he has it wrapped up in him, and I admire it greatly. The other thing is he's remarkable because he's bringing not just me into his life, but he's bringing Matthew, he's bringing Jacqueline and Amanda into his life, and that's huge. That's a big deal. And it's a lot of love. And we love him, and he loves us, and, you know, just the 5 of us in a room, we could probably energize an entire city. We really enjoy each other, and that's lovely. And a quick little note is 3 days before he proposed to me, which I didn't know he was going to propose to me, I had the weirdest dream. And in the dream, we were standing next to each other. And he said, "I don't care about all this stuff. I just want to marry you." And everywhere in the dream was this purple flower, and I kept thinking, I should pay attention to this because I know what this, I've seen it before, but I don't know what it is. I woke up that morning, literally the next morning, I Googled it. It's a wisteria. And I looked up the definition of wisteria. It's a flowering vine that climbs by twining their stems around steady support. Wow, right? That's us, I thought. All right. And 3 days later, was a proposal, which was, although we had talked about it, a lovely, beautiful surprise. And I feel like you're my support in this life. And I'm happy to walk down this road with you. I'm blessed to have you as my best friend, as my faithful partner, and my true love. I promise to encourage and inspire you daily. Maybe even annoy you a little bit. I promise to communicate fully and fearlessly as best I can. I'll love you through good times and challenging times. I'll be there to laugh with you and cry with you, and I'll be there with every adventure that we go through. I give you my heart today as I become your wife, and I'm honored to call you my husband, and I love you very much.
My turn. Thanks for coming out today, guys. I really appreciate it, every single one of you. And we put this wedding together, and in a magical way, it's all unfolding exactly how we wanted it to. So thank you for coming. To the kids, Jacqueline, Amanda, and Matt, I want you guys to know that I admire you, I respect you, and I'm blown away by the small achievements that you've made and the big achievements you're going to make in the future. I want to thank you for letting me be in your life, for letting me marry your mom. And I know we've had our ups and downs, and we're gonna have a lot more. But I'm in it, and I can't wait for it. Christine, you're my rock. You are my partner in crime. You're the person that gives me courage. I want to stand with you, toe to toe, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder. And I want to face this road with you. And I want to experience days like today. And I want to experience the cold days in January where we have to hold each other. I love you. You're my best friend. And I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you.
That was very beautiful.